This is Richard from the Jackson Family YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about firearms in the homestead. It is my opinion that each homestead, home, individual should have the right, does have, to protect themselves and their property, right? Maybe it's from animals, maybe it's from other people, maybe it's from, the far extreme of tyrannical government, right? Whatever the reason, we have in this country the right to keep and bear arms, and I'll go through a few reasons why. Okay, so let's start with reason one. Self-defense. So I'm going to include with that kind of protection of property also. That's kind of still self-defense, because if an animal is damaging your livestock, that's taking from your ability to feed yourself, that's taking from your profits, it's still damaging your person, either financially or inadequately being able to feed yourself, right? So I'm going to put those in kind of one bundle. I'm going to go through a few things here. If you have somebody break into your home, they don't even need to have the gun, so let's say they have a baseball bat. If you have somebody break into your home, do you think, if they intend you harm, that a phone call or a safe room is going to protect you and your possessions? Let's say you do have a safe room. Let's say that you didn't quite have enough time to get your children to that safe room. You're going to sit there and allow who knows what to be done with those children? Maybe they'd be fine, maybe they'd be taken, maybe they'd be molested, who knows, right? Alright, let's say somebody comes in your home and they want to steal your goods, well, whatever you have that's of value. I don't have a whole lot worth of value besides the camera here, but and some guns, but anyway, what are you going to do? If you come down the hallway and they have a baseball bat, right? You have a baseball bat. I wonder how much fight you've got in you. Hopefully a lot. What if there's two of them? What do? You're a law-abiding citizen. Do you have people trying to take your things and they are armed? Or even if they're not, if it's just one of you and two of them, you might be able to put up a fight. I don't know you. But anyway, point being, a firearm, even just having one, has deterred more crime that wasn't even reported than guns, than the violent crimes that were perpetrated using a firearm, right? So here's what I'm trying to say. Certain media outlets would have you believe that more firearms equals more crime, right? What they failed to mention is the number, which is, I forget where the source is. It's between 500,000 and 3 million violent crimes a year. This is I forget, CDC maybe? I forget exactly where. This is a very tangible and viable statistic here. Between 500,000 at the low end, that's like complete bottom end of this. Crimes have been prevented with firearms, not necessarily even having to be used, shot rather. But if you come down the hall, if I'm in here without a gun, and I'm going to take your encyclopedias because I'm drugged up and I don't know what I'm doing. You come down the hallway because you don't know what's going on here. You just know there's some freaking weirdo in your house, right? They see you have a gun, out the door. You may call the cops. You should call the cops, right, and report that. Where I'm from, a lot of people don't. It's just, we kind of handle things. If there's not a major issue, we don't have to involve the government. And cops are government, right? I'm supportive of police, don't get me wrong. But if you're the kind of person who doesn't trust them, I think it's funny that, they are a branch of government, be it city, county, state, federal. All police are a branch, an enforcement branch of government, right? Anyway, alright, so moving on. You've got self-preservation, really. Property preservation wrapped into one. And then we have, so let's go to sporting purposes. I think that it's incredibly valuable for each person in a household to know how to use a firearm. If you can use a firearm, self-defense, great, gotta have that. But if you need a firearm for hunting, for instance, we've got that covered, right? You can learn to use a 22. You can kill small game with that. You can then progress to a larger rifle that you can learn to take medium and large game with, and take that as far as you want to go. And then I had this idea. First, I'm going to point out, you know how I was just talking about hunting, basically, to feed your family, to feed yourself, to maintain a healthy populace of wildlife. Does the Second Amendment say that you have a right to have a gun for hunting? Because a lot of people who are proponents of gun control, they advocate only single shots and, manual action firearms, which it's just their avenue to try to get, it's a means to an end, right? But here's something I'm going to point out. My first gun, right there, it's a Marlin Model 60, okay? That's a 22 long rifle. I learned to hunt using this rifle without the scope. This is actually a really, really cheap scope, but anyway, it holds more than 10 rounds. Does that make it an assault rifle? It's a semi-automatic. Does that make it an assault rifle? This thing has shot so many targets, so many small game animals. This is a great basis that a lot of Americans use right here for their common sporting purposes, right? If the legislation, some of it has been introduced recently, says ban all semi-automatic weapons, this would be banned. It also says ban any weapons that have a capacity to hold more than 10 rounds, this would be banned. How idiotic is that, seriously? They don't care though. It's all about a means to an end, right? So anyway, point being, this little dude right here could do a lot of jobs on the homestead. This is great for kids to shoot. It's great plinking fun whenever the ammo is available, because sometimes it's not whenever people try to take guns away. This can shoot fairly accurately to about the 100-yard mark. You could kill coyotes with this. You could feed your family squirrels and rabbits with this. And in fact, a lot of the old timers say that they killed more deer using a 22 long rifle exactly like this one than with any centerfire rifles. Now, if you can kill a deer with a centerfire rifle, or with a rimfire rifle rather, doesn't it stand to reason that even this little guy could be fairly adequate for home defense, right? Not ideal. Not the best gun for home defense. In a pinch, it would work, right? Let's pretend that you have cattle, okay? We can say sheep, we can say cattle, whatever. Let's say that you have several cattle and you're a very, very small homestead. Let's say that you have coyotes in your area, or wolves, either one would be fine in this context. Let's say that you have a cow that is calving, okay? Or a sheep that's having babies also, whatever, right? But I like to use a cow one because I'm more familiar with cattle, okay? I have seen calves with their ears chewed off. I've heard my uncle, he tells a story about whenever he declared war on coyotes was the time that he watched a mama cow giving birth and coyotes eating components thereof, let's put it that way. Killed the cow. Couldn't do anything about it. You need, in a homestead where you have livestock, where there's any threat whatsoever of predation, you need to have a means of immediately stopping, permanently stopping also, that predation, right? Somebody might argue, well, coyotes are scared of people. And that's partially true. So if you see one eating, or that's killed a calf, all you have to do is go run it off. Again, probably true, right? But what about the next time? If you don't kill the predator, he is eating your profits or your own table food, right? He's eating your family's food. So the ability to instantly eliminate a predator is a huge deal on the homestead, right? Let's talk AR-15s, because that is a huge, huge, huge deal. And I'm wanting to point out to you guys that there is value in you standing up for your Second Amendment rights and fighting gun legislation. Because even if you think, well, no harm would come to them, to these people banning AR-15s, I disagree. Okay, I have one AR-15. Whenever I purchased it, I was farming in northwest Oklahoma. I was riding a tractor. I worked for a farmer, rancher. He basically farmed his ground for the sole purpose of feeding his cattle. He didn't harvest anything to sell. It was all consumed or grazed by the, well, how much I say, is either baled and consumed or grazed and consumed by the cattle, right? So on these thousands of acres that I was up there farming, I saw a lot of coyotes. And I thought, man, I need a rifle that I can just beat around on this tractor. I don't have to worry about it. I need a rifle that's accurate enough that if I see a coyote, I can take it out at 200 or 300 yards, whatever, because they don't exactly love people. They don't get that close most of the time. So I need a rifle without a scope on it. I need a rifle that has iron sights that are strong and will not be knocked off. I need something that has repeatability, because oftentimes, in fact, one time while farming in that same time frame, shot 3 out of 4 coyotes that were running from the calf pen to the area where we hauled the dead calves, right? I was farming, they didn't care about me on the tractor. I stopped the tractor, took my rifle, shot the coyotes, and they went to running, right? I only had 10 rounds with me, maybe 15, I forget now. And it took several rounds, but I killed 3 of those 4 coyotes. That's 3 out of the 4 coyotes that weren't eating calves anymore for that farmer. If I had a bolt-action rifle, I might have got one of them. Probably just one. Maybe 2 if I was awesome, right? If I had a 5-round capacity magazine, wouldn't have got that many coyotes. The point is, yeah, a person can misuse a tool and cause harm to other humans. That doesn't give anybody else the right to say that lawful use needs to be removed, right? The AR-15 is an awesome rifle for the homestead. If I have somebody that, there are druggies around here. If I have one of them stealing my things, I'm probably not going to take the AR-15 outside. In fact, I don't like to brandish firearm at all. But if I find somebody armed, I want to have confidence that either this or that AR-15 is going to be able to stop them from trying to hurt me or my family, right? Or I want to be able to say that this rifle that you can just skip across the floor if you want to, I can then pick up and hit either somebody shooting at me or an animal trying to harm one of my livestock at whatever range I need to do that. The idea that that rifle is bad is just made up. Okay, here's my AR-15. Had to go to the bedroom and get it. One thing that I need to point out also, I forgot this until I picked it up. See how small this thing is? This is the legal version of the one I carried while I was in the service, right? This is an excellent kid gun. That might be contrary to some people's belief. This thing, alright, in my mind, a child can and should learn to shoot with iron sights. That's kind of fundamental marksmanship. Whether it's with a BB gun or a .22, a rifle, whatever, I think that having the iron sights develops more of the fundamental marksmanship that you are probably trying to teach your child. You see this? This is just a super generic M4 style buttstock, okay? For me, I always run with it all the way out. And using my military training, I have my sweet spot that I always put my nose right on the charging handle. And that is the way that I operate that rifle. My 7-year-old and my 8-year-old love to shoot this thing. They can fit this thing really well. And it doesn't have recoil. I mean, not heavy recoil. They can shoot this thing and love it. When they grow a little bit, they grow a little bit more. It's like a, what am I trying to say? You know, you buy those baby cribs, they're like 3-in-1. It goes crib, toddler bed, real size bed, modular, is that it? It's what I'm talking about. This thing, I've argued before and then been corrected on. I said this thing should not be called an assault rifle. It should be called a utility rifle because it's just able to do anything. And then the guy told me, he says, yep, but you open up a big can of worms whenever you do that. If you call it a utility rifle, it takes away from the validity, the whole point of the Second Amendment. And that the Second Amendment doesn't say you are allowed to own sporting guns. It says that you shall, or your right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed without restriction. It doesn't say, it doesn't put restrictions on it. We already have restrictions. This thing, some of you will call it an assault rifle. I don't care what you call it. This thing is just one of my favorite tools for the homestead, okay? Okay, so I've got a shotgun here. It's a pump action. But I know a lot of people who prefer their semi-automatics. There's nothing wrong with that. Most people who shoot 3-gun competitions, for instance, every gun they use is semi-automatic for the most part. I don't know anybody who uses a revolver for 3-gun. I'm sure somebody does, but anyway, the point is, 3-gun competitions, they use semi-autos because it's a timed event, right? Dove hunters, they use semi-autos a lot because you can stay on. See if I can do this here. Pow. By the time I ran that action, and of course that could be done quicker and usually is in the field, but you know, you've got a limited amount of time from the time the birds fly over and you have a window to shoot them before they're gone, right? So for hunting, nothing wrong with a semi-automatic shotgun, right? If the ban went in against semi-autos, that would be gone. One cool thing about a shotgun, obviously, great tool to all kinds of game. Also a great home defense tool, although maybe not one with a 28-inch long barrel, but this thing, if you're using the right ammunition, will have less potential to punch through walls and things like that, you know, at least with only one round. This can be awesome at home defense. This can be awesome at taking care of predators. The problem lies in you've got a blast that forms a cone, that narrow side of the cone is at the muzzle of the barrel, right? And as it's going down, it just keeps spreading. So at 50 yards, your pellets are way far out. Now, of course, you've got slugs, but they're not as accurate as a rifle, for the most part. But anyway, if you have a coyote or a pack of coyotes that is on your livestock, you walk out there and shoot once in the air to get it off of your cow or off of your sheep, he's going to be running. Okay? I don't know how good a shot you are. I don't know how accurate your shotgun is. But I would rather not give him a freaking warning before I shoot him, right? Same thing in a home invasion situation. Leave it up to you, but I'm not doing this. The experts disagree on this. Some say this is all you need to repel a home intruder. Other experts say they should not hear that until you've already shot your first round. The point being, you don't brandish a firearm at somebody. If you need to pull a firearm out, you probably need to be ready to squeeze that trigger, right? And this equates to brandishing. So I'll let you guys interpret that. Okay, what else can we talk about? Point with a shotgun, if I'm walking outside and there's at 150 yards, which is not that far if you have any property at all, let's say at 150 yards away, you have 2 coyotes trying to kill a calf, or watching the mama giving birth, and you know what they're waiting on, right? Are you going to go out there with a shotgun, or are you going to grab the rifle that you have the ability to shoot accurately at long range and shoot multiple times and not have a super restricted amount of ammunition, so you can actually have a chance of protecting what's yours? Okay. Handguns. I've got several handguns that are awesome for all kinds of things. This one, where I'm at, you can legally, I think this one's legal to deer hunt with. Pretty sure. I've never done it, but I use a 44 Magnum that I carry sometimes. I use it for deer hunting and hog hunting effectively. This is a 45 ACP, just your standard 1911. I've got a Taurus Judge that is a 410 shotgun or 45 long Colt. That's like dual purpose for me. If I'm out in the woods or whatever, and I have the potential of snake bite, I'm going to carry that Judge with me with 145 slug in it. That way, if I stumble up on a hog or something, or I need to protect my person from something trying to harm me other than a snake, I've got that 145 slug. And I leave 4 rounds, because it only holds 5. And I'll leave 4 rounds of 410 in there with like number 7 or 6 or 8, whatever. And that's my snake gun. So checking the chicken coop, especially if you're not super secluded. If you got a little 410 Judge, or now there's other makers for it too, but if you got a little handgun that shoots that shot like that, excellent for shooting snakes, sometimes in the chicken coop. Other times you can arrange it to where you catch them on their way out, that sort of thing. My grandpa, he always used a 22 long rifle, revolver, loaded with rat shot. And that's where I kind of got the idea. But anyway, whenever I'm in the woods, a lot of times I'm around water and whatnot, carry that Judge with me. That's my snake gun / self-defense gun. And that's all I need, right, for the most part, in that case. So, what other handguns? 22s are great for planking and practice, and can be very effective for self-defense. But also, the 10-round mag capacity thing. This has a 10-round mag capacity, this particular one. In fact, I don't know if this one has 9 or 10 in this. This one's only got 9. Well, 8 in the magazine. I've got a high capacity one out there that holds 10. But this is a 1911, and it does not have a double stack magazine. These are single stacked in here. So, a lot of the Glocks and a lot of the other handguns is my point. I mean, like a lot, hold more than 10 rounds. I don't know what percentage, but a high percentage of the firearms, the handguns, would be illegal under this ban that's been proposed for semi-automatics and for firearms with more than 10 rounds in the magazine capacity. So, idiocy in my mind. Anyway, I'm trying to kind of think through here what all we got. We got handguns, we got shotguns, we got the assault rifles, we got the 22. Now, I'm going to show you something else. I intentionally here, I'll show you this one too. Okay, 30-30, right? Always check, it's empty. 30-30, lever action, Winchester Model 94. What, half of gun owners probably have this gun? Well, half of rural gun owners probably have one of these. This is an awesome little rifle, okay? It has the iron sights, it does have some recoil, it can knock down fairly large game. Really good little rifle. Deer rifle is pretty good. Okay. That's kind of like America's traditional deer rifle, right? I'm going to show you what I deer hunted with this year. That right there. This is more or less the same rifle that our military uses for sniping, or it used to be anyway. This is a Remington Model 700 bolt action rifle. Okay, you can get box magazines for this. Takes some work, but you can do that. It has the bipod, and it just looks super tactical, right? It has a tactical scope on it even. That's not the point. The point is, this is an effective deer rifle. That's what I use it for. I bought it because it's short. I bought it because it's .308 and it has good ballistic characteristics. For my area, the largest thing I have is white-tailed deer. Well, technically, hogs are probably the hardest thing. We do have a lot of feral hogs here in Oklahoma. Anyway, this is the gun for that. And where I was deer hunting this year, I was deer hunting where I had a range from 0 to 460 yards for my longest shot. I left the bipod on it, made sure my stand, my blind rather, had accommodations for me to lay prone and shoot if I needed to. I ended up not doing that, but the idea is, just because it looks tactical doesn't mean that this is a killing tool for people anyway. This is my target gun. This is my favorite gun to reload for because you can put so many different loadings in it. This is my deer hunting rifle for this last year. I've hunted hogs with it. I've shot small varmints with it, coyotes. I mean, just a great little rifle. It's just got a little fixed 10 power scope on it though. But that thing right there, the whole point is, again, you should have the right to own and use whatever you choose. And you can do that right now with either of these, right? If you don't want one of these, I don't care. Get one of these. If you don't want either of these, get one of those. You don't want one of those, I don't care what you get, but I think you need something to protect yourself, your livestock, your property, to be able to kill wild game for your family if you live in an area where that's a potential. I mean, seriously, there are a host of reasons for you to have guns on the homestead. These are just a few of them, with a little bit of political bias thrown in. But thanks for watching. This is just probably the beginning. I'm going to go over some more things like this, but ask me some questions if you want to about any of these. I am fairly knowledgeable about guns. I've sold them at Bass Pro. I've spent 4 years in the infantry. I grew up hunting squirrels. I now have a decent variety. I hand load for a lot of them. I've shot everything from mice, literally, in the chicken house, to, you know, mule deer. So I've got the general idea of what a firearm can do for people. And I've got an opinion on why you need them. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have any questions, let me know. I'll catch you on the next one.